Well, the righteousness of the View host, Sunny Hostin, has come back to bite her. Karma is such a fickle thing. I know that Don Meredith, long ago, who once played quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys and was one of the original members of the booth cast for Monday Night Football, used to talk about a momentum, and he would say, "Oh, Mo's fickle." Well, so's karma. Karma's fickle. And Sunny just felt the bite of that. How? Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Dr. Ken Henry, and this is Conservative Commentary, where we spread the MAGA message. Hey, before we jump in, I'd like to ask you for a favor. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. This really does help us grow the channel and get the MAGA message out. And go over to youtube.com/@themagamessage and check out our other videos. A civil RICO suit has been filed in the Eastern District of New York, which alleges that over 180 doctors and entities have engaged in fraud, insurance fraud, for the no-fault coverage that individuals have. New York's an interesting state. They have a very high limits of no-fault coverage, and they also have on the transit lines an even higher limit, and those are just paid. Well, it just so happens that Sunny Hostin's husband, Emmanuel Manny, is an orthopedic surgeon and owns an orthopedic surgery practice in New York. Now, let me explain a little bit of what the allegations are, and then I want to talk to you about how this works. The allegations is that these individuals, these defendants, these doctors, provided treatments to patients that weren't needed. So that a patient might have, let's say, a soft tissue back injury from a low impact automobile accident. These doctors would take them in and they would perform a discectomy or a fusion on their back. Same for the neck or knee or shoulder or whatever it might be. They would perform unnecessary surgeries, run up the bills, and then they would get a kickback. Not only would they get paid, but they would get a kickback from for doing these surgeries. And the transit insurance company has sued these folks, alleging this elaborate scheme to commit insurance fraud. Now, many of you don't know this, but I'm an attorney in Louisville, Kentucky, and I practice regularly automobile accident law. I do defense work. And we have a no-fault. We're a modified no-fault state in Kentucky, which means that we have what's called PIP, personal injury protection coverage, which covers the first $10,000 in medical expenses or lost wages from an automobile accident. So if a person is involved in an automobile accident, they go to get treatment, and their own insurance pays the first $10,000. We have seen a lot of abuse of this system in our state. For instance, chiropractors and attorneys are kind of inextricably linked at the hip. And so someone goes to a chiropractor and needs an attorney. They call the attorney that they're hooked up with. The attorney comes out, signs up the client. And someone comes in to the attorney, hasn't been to see a chiropractor yet or receive any real treatment, then they send that client to their chiropractor that they're hooked up with. we just see it all the time. And that's bad enough, but we have an instance here where this one organization advertises that they will find you a lawyer and they will get you hooked up with that lawyer and provide you treatment as well. And we have had instances where they actually bring in the patients, will not let them use their personal insurance, particularly their PIP coverage. And if they need surgery, fly them to another state to a surgery center owned by the person that owns the referral company. And we see all kinds of unnecessary treatment. We jokingly say in our business that the magical maximum medical improvement comes at exactly the point that the PIP benefits run out with these chiropractors. It's kind of a running joke in our industry. But those are the kinds of things that go on. There is one organization here that will provide 2 MRI to everybody who walks in the door, regardless of whether they need them. But they own the MRI. So it's kind of a double whammy. They also have a physical therapy unit that they have right there in the building, as well as a physician. It really is a racket. But back to Dr. Manny Emmanuel Hostin. If, in fact, the allegations are true against Dr. Hostin, he's got some real problems. And it could spell financial ruin for him and his family because a fraud, an intentional act, as has been alleged, cannot be bankrupted. So let's suppose that there's a judgment against Dr. Hostin in the amount of, throw a number out, $100 million. That cannot be bankrupted. And so his assets could be seized to satisfy that judgment. His medical equipment, for example, his home, his automobiles, his bank accounts could be seized to satisfy that judgment. And that directly would impact our good friend Sunny. You know, I think back to when Sunny was talking about President Trump, and not too long ago said, well, since he's a felon and he won and ran for president and won, then the box on employment applications where you have to check whether or not you have been convicted of a felony should be taken off the applications. Hey, Sunny, how are you feeling about those things now? I'm sure that she will deny that that her husband did anything wrong, but I've read the complaint, and it's strong and well-planned, hundreds of pages long, and it is really an elaborate scheme that has been developed for these doctors and their practices to profit even more by providing these unnecessary procedures. You know, we see it with pain management a lot as well. When they go in and they'll do, you know, the injections, the trigger point injections, and they'll do the steroid injections and the radio frequency ablation procedures on spinal nerves. And many times they're not needed. How do I know? Well, I have a bad back, and I had an MRI done, and the neurologist sent me over to pain management, and the first thing that they were going to do was start sticking stuff in my back. And I said, no, wait a minute, doc, I'm not there yet. So you can imagine how many times that unnecessary things will occur in the course of these types of practices. And it's particularly true when they know that the insurance is going to pay it and they really aren't going to question the fees that are charged. I don't wish ill for anybody, but I do find it a bit entertaining that this person who holds herself out to be so above the fray and so honest and so ethical, her husband's potentially involved in something like this. Now, it has to be proven, obviously, but nonetheless, I just find it to be another column in the crumbling manse of Sunny Hostin. I don't think there are many columns left holding up her fame and glory and her show, The View, as far as that goes. Take a look at this little excerpt from Sky News Australia, of all places. And once you have, let us know your thoughts in the comments.